grandfathers as far as this Main Street program goes. But we've been very successful with ours because we've been able to maintain those partnerships. We've been able to stay in communication with our local businesses and be able to unite them to come together to do things that are necessary to increase their business. In that being said, we need to do things that make people want to come to town. So we need to make sure that our streets are clean, our sidewalks are clean, our signage looks nice. We don't have a lot of empty storefronts. And those are the kind of things that the Main Street program really focuses on. Since 1998, we have invested a lot of time and effort and money into our downtown, and it shows. As Dave said, when people come back through the community, we get phone calls in our office as well, people saying, oh my gosh, I just came back from my class reunion and I can't believe the things that have happened. Within the last 3 years, we've had over $2 million invested in our downtown for a new streetscape. All the new streetlights, all the new trees, all of the new sidewalks, which have made our community much more welcoming when people do come through town. And as Dave said, people in town a lot of times don't remember what it looked like before. They kind of say, well, it's the same old, but it's not. It really is not. I'm going to give you some statistics, and I don't have these committed to memory. So we have the full-time Main Street program has implemented programs in progress that have provided over $8 million being invested in our central business district. That is both public and private money. That is not all public money that comes from the state.
I mean, just think about what Alfie spent to take a building that looked like it was about to fall down and transform it into what's the name of it again? I always call it DiMaggio's.
La Dolce Casa.
There we go. I mean, he did all that on the inside. That was his family's money.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, as a side note, I have to tell you that when the first time I walked into Alfie's when he did that, when the door closed behind me, I turned around and had to make sure that I was standing on Broad Street in downtown Tamaqua. That was really the first interior renovation that we had that really kind of set the standard for everybody else. So, we've done a lot. Our businesses are willing to invest. Our local residents are willing to invest. Our borough, our state, private foundations, private organizations and businesses, including private residents as well. We've created over 100 new jobs since 1999 in the downtown, and that continues to rise. You might not think of the downtown as a large employer, but they are. Probably right now, we're over 700 jobs, somewhere in that area in the downtown, which is a lot. For the size of our downtown, you're actually talking two and a half blocks on either side of the 5 points. We have invested over $225,000 in a parking lot, in a parking garage. As Dave said, parking is an issue in downtowns. If you don't have parking, people don't come. They complain when they have to walk a block, but when you go to a mall, you have to walk more than a block to get where you are, or where you want to go. So getting that across to people is very difficult sometimes. Everybody wants to park right in front of the store where they're going. In addition to that parking garage, we also have invested another $120,000 to create and renovate, create new parking along South Railroad Street by the library. That was really ugly, gravelly piece of property that we were able to obtain on a lease from the railroad, which is very unusual. And we were able to improve it, and we've created over almost 40 parking places there. In that particular parking lot, another partnership that we've developed is with one of our local merchants, Todd Miller from M&S Hardware, and also the Tamaqua Public Library. We then turned around and rented those parking spaces to both M&S Hardware and to the library to provide parking for their clients and their customers. That helps them and helps them to stay in downtown and also to increase their business. So we also have over 80 off-street parking spaces have been created through the Main Street program. There's been development of a borough-owned lot, and downtown the Main Street program actually owns one other lot on the Route 309 where we, again, rent parking spaces to local residents, local businesses, which takes those people off of the street so that customers can park in front of businesses. So it's kind of a vicious circle when we do things like that. But we're there to stop that, to keep, opening up doors for people. We recruited new businesses in downtown Tamaqua, which includes a national franchise, the Subway. When we did that, we were also able to convince them that they needed to stay within our design parameters in the downtown. Subway usually has backlit fluorescent signs, and we were able to convince the Subway owner and the franchise or the corporation that in order for them to come to downtown, here were the rules, and they abided by them. It wasn't easy, they didn't like it, but they did it, and they've remained in the downtown, which is great because that's an employer for the downtown. We have
I had one kid tell me they thought that was the best thing that the community had ever done.
Subway.
Get the Subway. It's like everybody has a different hot button, I guess. But
exactly.
For that one guy, that was the big deal. Yeah.
We have, as Dave talked about Alfie's outside, we have restored or done facade projects on over 70 buildings in the commercial business district. That's a lot of buildings. Whether it is the major facade
and we're not done
project,
yet.
Oh, right, and there's a lot more to go. We have, Alfie's was a major project. DiMaggio's was a major project and a big wow in the middle of our downtown. But we've done small things. We've pressure washed buildings. We've painted windows or, provided the impetus for people to do that. We did have grant funding that was available. We were giving people money to do that, which allowed them to invest. They invested more than what we gave them, so that was another big thing that went into our downtown. And there are a lot more to be done. There's a few that we're going to wait a while, but I know we'll get them done eventually. And when I say facade projects, things like taking the 70s aluminum siding off front of buildings. Underneath that aluminum siding is really beautiful facades. And we need to develop those and to convince people that it's important to do that because, again, it's the overall look of our downtown and for us to be able to welcome people and let them know this is a great community to come, to live, to work, to develop a business, to provide recreation or to find recreation and things like that.
One quick story on why it's important. It's not just about making things look pretty.
Yeah.
You should all hope to someday work, or at least your parents hope that you all someday work, okay? A few years ago over at St. Luke's, the Board of Trustees told me that they had a doctor they were trying to recruit. They had a job in the community. They really wanted the doctor to come here. The doctor, his wife, came to the community, and on their drive to Coaldale, they were so offended by what they saw in a deteriorating Tamaqua before we started these projects, they basically already decided to turn the job down. And so it's not just about making things look pretty. It's really about community revitalization and jobs, jobs, jobs. I mean, the program doesn't have a motto, but if it did,
that's it.
That would be it.
That's it. Is the job issue. And Dave is right. It is a step toward that revitalization or into that revitalization and that economic development. If we had not done something in downtown, in the central business district, we would still be stuck in the 80s. I had a business in town here in the 80s. And if anybody had told me at that particular time that downtown Tamaqua would look the way it does now and thrive the way it does now, I would have called them a liar. Because at that particular time, we had so many old, dirty buildings. We had empty buildings. It was a struggle for a new business or a small business to get people to come downtown. Now that we've developed this program where we are helping people get through Main Street, through the Chamber, through the partnership, to get people downtown, we still need to take care of those issues that we had in the 80s. We still have a lot of those issues, but at least we're working on them and we're making a difference.
And we've learned that just as blight is contagious, so is revitalization. It just